Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Hi, Tribe. Did you ever think of doing your autobiography? It's not as complicated as you think. So join 5.8G as we, together with Dr. Lynette Tyson-Noel, certified guided autobiographer, as we journey into the world of writing our stories. Scribe with the Tribe is a 3-part series that lets us write our stories, and there are so many reasons to do this. Jennifer, what do you think?
It's a great idea, and I'm all excited to do my autobiography. That's because, it's a way for me to document my life story and leave a legacy for my loved ones. It will also help, those who see me as a mentor to learn more about me and to get some golden nuggets. I see it too as a way to motivate our 5.8G tribe to celebrate their greatness, to start to document their life story and really have that legacy for their loved ones.
Great. And I also think that our cohort, we have done so much with such great impact, like no other generation has before. Time has flown so fast that we've hardly had any time to look back, to admire, or even to understand all that we have achieved for ourselves and our loved ones. I call that our greatness. So I am taking the opportunity through this series to tell my greatness story. It will be a wonderful gift to myself, the opportunity to document my life's journey in my own words, and then I choose to share it with whom I choose. I think that's a great thing. So, Jennifer, tell us more about the series.
Okay, our 3-part series will be held on Tuesday the 8th and Tuesday the 15th of October. And our final session will be on Monday the 21st of October. Now it's from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Zoom platform. So register now. Call me, Jennifer, at 685-8834. And of course, Terry-Ann also at
682-9202. And check out all of our social media platforms and our 5.8 GLI show. So we look forward to seeing you. Call us.
Yes. Scribe with the Tribe.
Good evening and welcome to 5.8G Alive, brought to you by Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and with me as usual, my colleague.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And I'm Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome.
Listen, Jennifer, we have so much going on, and today is an important day because we are picking up on a topic that resonated from our Emancipation to Independence and Permission series. This whole thing about us managing the risks around our lives and about the things that could face us. And that whole action of managing risk is called ensuring, but many of us have hesitations about that. So we are having someone on to talk about risk management. You will enjoy that. But Jennifer, in the meantime, we have another project that we started and we have ads. So.
Oh, yes. So this is something, someone told me, Jennifer, that's a very unusual event. And I say, yes, we want our autobiography And this is what it's all about. So we have the 3-part series coming coming up, I should say. So listen up.
Definitely, definitely. So
Yeah.
Jennifer, what is interesting about today is that there we are talking about the legacy that you will document, but with our guests, and we are calling this section being dollar savvy. You're taking care of yourself, but it's being dollar savvy, because the whole purpose of that autobiography and that beautiful story could go up in smoke if you haven't protected yourself. So, taking this discussion with Nathaniel Wiltshire, the branch manager of Guardian Life, and let's look at how we insure ourselves a little differently. So, we have a very, very important guest today, as we said before. We talking all things health, all things money. We talking our attitudes. And many people may recognize this person. Some people may not. So I want to start. Nathaniel Wiltshire, how are you? And please introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay. My name is Nathaniel Wiltshire. Call me Nat for short. I am a Guardian Life branch manager. I have been in the insurance industry for over 40 years. I am also the the education chairman of the Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, CARIFA. And I have been in that position for the last 20 years, 22 years actually. So I know a little about...
Before you go on, could you tell me what does why does an insurance body need an education committee or division, as it were?
Well, it's not an education division. It's we are a Caribbean association. Each country has its own local association. So Trinidad has TIFA, which is the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Financial Advisors. And we, like all professional organizations, have an association. The lawyers have it, the doctors have it, the accountants have it, the engineers have it. We are no different, we have it too. In terms of us, of the insurance industry, we, as the difference between the lawyer, the doctor, the engineer, they go to school for 5, 6, 7 years, depending on whether it's engineering or medicine. We apprentice from day one as insurance agents. So we still, as far as I'm concerned and as I preach, we don't become insurance agents for about 6 years, when we finish all our courses and understand not just the product knowledge, but the taxation, retirement planning, if you live too long, if you die too soon, estate planning, economics, the works. And this is how we get that knowledge through our association and the courses we do through our association. And the umbrella body is the Caribbean Association that oversees. We get our courses from either Canada or the American College, and we are the franchisee basically for those courses. So these courses are moderated courses, 8-week courses, and each agent, well, it's not mandatory, because when I came into the business, we had the Life Underwriters training course. There, not everybody did it, but you stood apart if you did it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could give better advice and to your clients trusted you, and you would, I mean, the people who stayed the course for 20, 30, 40 years in the business, which is the same as lawyers, doctors, the ones who jump in and jump out were not really insurance agents as far as I'm concerned.
I know Jennifer could speak a lot because of this, but I want to say something here. We see ads where insurance agents are called life advisors. And, there can be a lot of talk or perspective, bad interactions with insurance agents may cause people to have a negative or indifferent attitude towards the person and the product. But I really do appreciate that explanation about what makes a professional agent, because it really sets up why we would have selected you, and if I could to Jennifer's phone also, why we would develop some of our programs and why we would have the perspectives that we do in terms of our cohort, especially guarding and protecting their life assets, be they financial assets, personal assets, community assets, and so on. So thanks for that. Jennifer, any other?
No, again, I want to welcome Nat to our show this evening. And Nat, I must say, congratulations, because staying the course for all these years, really giving superb, advice to your clients, not just your clients. You're running a branch for so many years says a lot. And I know, having you here with us would really be able to, educate our audience on how important it is for us to look at our well-being at this stage. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to our conversation.
Great. So Nat, we are talking about health. And I stopped using the word healthy to describe food or things like that, because health is sometimes seen as a totally something gone bad, something gone wrong with you, or it's not desirable. But the reality is, for many in our cohort, life now seems to be putting a lot of pressure and challenges on our well-being. And it's really compromising or making our quality of life different or difficult. Before we get into solutions and so on, from where you sit, because many people use the insurance products to help buffer or pay for issues that will arise with them. What are you seeing happening with people's health and their well-being? What's going on out there?
When I was small, I grew up in Labrie, and in July, August vacation, I would eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, I guess, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then I would go out and play. By myself, there were no fences. There was just yard, and you can walk all the way down to the pitch lake. You can't, going into the pitch lake would be madness, so I wouldn't do that. But there was endless places to explore. There were mangoes in the tree. You go up in the tree and you climb, you suck 2 mango and you come down with your hand clean. You go by your neighbor and eat. And that was, you were always moving. Today, when you see a child playing, it is something to talk about. Because children now are given a device and they sit and play on it all day long by themselves or watch TV. So you're talking about childhood obesity, you're talking about childhood diabetes, you're talking about all those kinds of things that we never used to have before. And when you look at the adults are no different. Nobody is exercising. I mean, when I say nobody, I mean the most of the population is obese, which carries its own problems, health issues. Even in terms of the diet, I mean, when I was small, everything that I ate was cooked at home, basically. Once a quarter or something, so you might go into San Fernando or have a hamburger as a treat, but that's once for the whole. That might be once in every 6 months.
Yeah.
Everything you ate was fresh food. That's not our diet today.
Yeah.
All right. Even in terms of a soft drink, a sweet drink, that was a treat. All right. Ice cream and all them kind of sweet tea, them kind of thing was a treat. Now that is norm. Everybody, I mean, it have no. Everybody eating that every day.
The cooked meal is the treat.
The cooked meal is the treat. And you are basically, as they say, you are what you eat. So when we look at, from our perspective as insurance agents, when we look at, we have to do as health questions. And the questions we ask tell us, gives us a picture and a story of this person in front of us. Many people can't get insurance or they are rated based on the fact that they are not healthy. Some, I mean, you know, and that we encounter that a lot now. I mean, even when we looked at COVID and how many people in this country died from COVID, apart from the vaccine deniers, we're just talking about just the unhealthy people around. So that is a phenomenon now that, you know, it's throughout the Caribbean, throughout the world basically. There's McDonald's, KFC, and thing. I mean, everywhere you go, anywhere in the world you go, you're seeing them.
Yeah.
So, but again, as I travel, there are people there are countries that, like, you know, you go to France, you don't see a lot of big people, you know. But their diet is, their starch is bread. And that's it. That's the only starch they really have.
Yeah.
We have macaroni pie, we have rice, we have provision, right? We have more rice.
Chips, French fries.
You know, we have chips, we have potato salad, and we eat a lot of starch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So unless you're working in construction where you could burn that, but most of us sit behind a desk and we're still eating like that. So there becomes a problem.
Nat, let me ask you one question, and it struck me. You just said nowadays many people, they can't get insurance because of their health. And sometimes I think people don't understand how important and pervasive the need for insurance can be. So we're talking health, and some persons listening may think, oh, they're talking health insurance. Or I'm not in that, but we'll get to that. But why would this health crisis, which causes you to not get insurance, adversely affect you in other realms of life? When you can't get insurance, what do you want insurance for?
There are many reasons to have insurance. If you want to buy a house, you pretty much need insurance. Most banks are going to not want to repossess your house if something happens to you. So they require insurance. There are some that don't, but most do. If you want to start a business and you approach the bank, they are going to want some kind of collateral. If you don't have the cash to put down, then an insurance policy can substitute. And most people don't have the cash to put down. So you also, if you are going to try to get your family out of poverty, if you are in poverty, one of the ways, leveraging an insurance policy so that if something should happen to you, your family, whatever plans you had for them can be fulfilled. So there are many, many reasons why insurance is important. I mean, and we're not even talking health insurance. If you get sick, one of the things I have noticed that if you don't have proper insurance, you don't have a choice of medical care. You have to go to the public institutions. And depending on how they see you, you could have a wait of 2 years, by which time whatever you have might be irreversible. So insurance ensures that you can have a quality of life that you desire. It gives you options. Whereas I mean, even with money, depending on what happens to you, if you don't have insurance, you are going to spend the savings that you have patiently acquired. In one swoop, it will be gone to save your life. Insurance can make that difference.
Yeah. It may not even save your life. It may just cover the bill for the situation that might be 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah, well, in reality, it can save your life.
Yeah.
It can save your life.
Now, I want to come in here on the critical illness aspect. Now, yes, this show is all about our cohort, the 50 plus. And, sometimes when you may talk to a client on who within this age group about health insurance or critical illness type insurances, they will say, oh, at this age, it's not making sense, or might be able to pass the medical, etc., etc. But I just want you here, because I have seen so many situations where, as you mentioned, having, and I'm speaking here about critical illness in particular, having that sort of plan definitely save life, right? Could you, in terms of speaking to our age group, 2 things I would like for you to just share on. In cases, sometimes it may not be your personal situation, but it could be your spouse or your child. And if they don't have that sort of insurance, your savings, your little money you put aside, you have to end up using it to help towards that medical situation. And I'm aware of a actual personal situation like that, where because that younger person didn't have, the parent had to step in. So could you tie in both in terms of the benefit on both sides?
Yeah, that's interesting that you would put it in that context. I find that After you retire, certainly somewhere like about between 65 and say 75 is when you tend to start getting critical illnesses.
Correct. Yeah.
And usually in the old things, we sold critical illness up to 65. Now it's up to 80, which is when you really need it. So when somebody, as your example, age 55, or your cohort in terms of over 50, yes, it might be expensive taking it out now, but when you look at what it can save you, it's actually quite cheap. All right. Yeah. And then the other aspect of it is the little that you have will be taken away from you because you will want to use any resource you have to save your spouse or your child. Yeah. All right. And when we talk about child, you know, I have this thing, once you're over 21, your offspring, you're nobody child no more. Which my wife has a serious problem with, because when you're 50, you're still my child, right? And your mothers will probably feel the same way. In the animal kingdom, you don't have that. Once you reach adult, and adult in an thing is 2 years or 1 year or whatever, once you survive on your own, you're on your own.
Once you can reproduce.
Exactly, right? We just want to make we children, and as you know, my family tells a story of one of my aunts, I'm talking about years ago, dying at 70, no children. And when she was being buried, her mother and talking to each other, she was always sickly. I know she would have never grow up to be nothing. Woman died at 70 years old. So, you know, my child. So if once they know you have, and once you are a target for solving everybody's problem, financial problem, till your money run out, and then nobody looks to you again for nothing because you don't have. So if you insist that everybody around you have insurance and protects themselves, then you also protecting yourself and the little that you have that you can keep. All right. I always tell people, you know, people have an account that nobody knows about. Nobody. Because once they know you have it, there will always be an emergency that they need. And when it pulls at your heartstring, like is your child or your husband or somebody that you care about, you know, you feel kind of, I must help. But it's not alone. It's not alone. It's a gift because you will never get it back. Yeah. Right? So, and if you are living to 90, 95, 100, and I mean, in those ages, is basically you have to depend on you. Yeah. Unless you have 7 children or 9 children like my mother had. You know, so my mother never really worked a day in her life, but she always had money. But then she had 9 children who, when they started working, were all expected to give her something. And she never asked, but it was just known that, hey, yes. Yep. You know, and you know, I tell this story, you know, my mother, she would ask each one of her children, because she wouldn't be what's the word? I would use the word uncaring. That's not the right word, but she wouldn't ask the same person twice in a short space of time.
You have enough to spread it out.
You know, so my mother asked me to buy a ticket for her to go to Canada. She and her granddaughter she raised. And I called my travel agent and said, listen, buy 2 tickets for my mother. Well, economy, of course, because so my sister called me not too long before she was to say, so what are these seats? Because she wanted her daughter to work with them. What are these seats? So I called my travel agent, got these seats. They say, economy? Mommy don't travel economy. I said, okay. I called my sister in Barbados. I said, hold on, Mommy don't travel economy? She said, no. I called back with travel agent. I said, change us to business class tickets, please. So that's how my mother rolled, and she never worked a day in her life, you know. So
And 9 children, she would.
with 9 children, 9 children.
You know, it's important the discussion that we said, because as we said, we in caring about ourselves, and I really hope that our audience understands that there is really, if you want to protect yourself and really enjoy this long life, a lot of attitudes have to change. And Jennifer and I talk about mindset about money, mindset about responsibility for family and stuff like that. But we are afraid to, I'm going to say it, we are afraid to even engage the idea that one day we will have to watch that child, and I love your comment there, and say, no, I can't. We while our heart is broken, we take every last bit of our savings and hand it over without assurance that those funds will be used responsibly, or even that there's no hope of it coming back to us. And afterwards, we silently suffer with a lot of fear about, all right, so the safety net is gone. What am I going to do now? And you're making it very clear that just that simple, and I'm a child of an insurance professional. Make sure everybody around you have insurance, even if you don't have it yourself. That's your insurance to protect your asset in case something happens to you. And that's a critical perspective. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
you know, go ahead.
No, I was going to get into the discussion of what is happening to us with health, getting more into that, but you can continue on your train of thought.
No, you go ahead. All
right. We are seeing people, is the perspective that we have, the perception correct, that we have a lot of walking woundeds walking around the place. And as we say, dying is probably the better outcome because you're gone. It will stop. But disability, continuing with the need for medication. I mean, just think cancer patients, kidney people on dialysis, hypertension and all of its issues. All of those critical, and you could stroke victims. Is it really as epidemic as it seems to be? Because it's either you have some stroke, you have something. Are we a sicker bunch of people?
Yeah, actually, I think we are. I think we are, and as we get older, I mean, but it's not even over 50s now, just over 50s.
Mm-hmm.
It's 40s and 30s and 20s. And it's going to get lower than that as time goes on, just based on lifestyles and lifestyle diseases, which is totally preventable. But it has to start to turn around individually. We need to, each one of us has to take some kind of responsibility for ourselves and let it resonate, and from there, that's how I would put it. You know, I was at a church service some years ago, and one of your tributes, a doctor was making a tribute and he was saying that death is the poor man's doctor. And it resonated with me, because if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the ability to eat properly, if you can't take preventative, you don't do prevention. Like, for example, this morning I had my executive medical, and I have been doing this for the last 20-25 years, because I notice all company executives do executive medicals. And I say, but hold on, am I executive too? Nobody had to tell me I'm an executive. I say executive too. So I am going to do an executive medical. And me and my wife did executive medicals from way back.
Mhm.
There was no huge cost to it. But if you know your numbers, you can proact as opposed to react. You know, if you're pre-diabetic, you don't have to become diabetic, but you know you're pre-diabetic. Most people who pre-diabetic don't know they're pre-diabetic because they don't know their numbers. If your pressure is going up, if you don't know, then you can't do anything to ensure that you don't become hypertensive, fully hypertensive. And there are little things. If your cholesterol is going up, there are things you can change your diet. And it's simple things. It's not big things that you need to do. But if you don't know, and I mean, there are so many people out there who pride themselves on never going to a doctor till they fall long belief, right? And then it's too late. So, I mean, it starts with the individual being aware. I mean, so many of us know the social media that we get all our information from, and we take things, we don't check anything, we don't. And, you know, Dr. Google, you tell me anything, I go and check out Dr. Google. If you tell me something is something, I check Google, and Google will tell me that's true for us one time. You understand? Most people will just take it and run with it. So it's little things, and I'm saying I'm using it, saying it as personal responsibility. That's how I put it.
Yes. I'm definitely in agreement with you there now. That personal responsibility. And going back again at our age group. And it's not too late, because we tend, many of us to, at retirement, especially when we come off from a job place where you have been sitting a lot, we tend to, after we leave, you go home and you're not being active, doing anything at all, you know? So it is important for us to look at that, not just, of course, having or maintaining your health plan, but looking at how you can take those preventative measures. What are you doing? What you mentioned earlier on about going for a medical, it may not be for those who may not think executive medical, but going for your annual checkup. Something like that, you tend to feel, if I'm not sick, why go for a checkup? You know, and they may wait until you actually drop down, as we say, and then when you go, it's too late. So that personal responsibility, it is key. It is something continuous. It should not be, okay, I'm at this stage in life, so I don't need to go for medical, or I don't need to go walking or doing things that is necessary to maintain, you know, some good health. Because many of us may be prone to certain type of illnesses, but we don't know until it's too late. So that personal responsibility you're talking about, it is key, and I've seen it as #1 priority for our age group.
Yeah.
You know, one of the, you know, you talk about the impact insurance has on one's life, you know, in terms of as a proponent of it. I remember, you know, somebody having headaches, and my immediate reaction is, you know, that can be serious. You need to check it out. They did. They operated the next day, because if they didn't, she would have died. And this is a 20-something-year-old, because it was an aneurysm and it was almost about to burst. I have that. If somebody is having persistent headaches, to me, that is something you need to check out. There are people who are going to say, even when you go to the doctor, they tell you to take 2 aspirin, Tylenol, and go. Just rest it off. Because we don't take these things serious in Trinidad. But when I talk about personal responsibility, even in that regard, we are aware of things that can happen, that people are experiencing, and we don't speak up. You know, go and check it out. Go and check it out. I mean, an agent sat down by my desk talking about pain in her leg, pain. And I say, you know what? You're going up to medical associates now. Right? She had cancer. She didn't know. All right? So, again, if we, and I mean, me no expert in none of that, me know what she had, I just know you need to check it out, because that ain't normal. All right? So, you would think medical associates, expensive, but at least go and find out. You don't have to stay. Find out. And then make a decision once you know.
Nat, why are people staying with headache, leg pain, things that are not normal, unwell states? What are some of the reasons, based on your talking to them and perceiving, what are the reasons that we're not going to find?
Well, I think it's 2 things. One is fear, and the other is burying one's head in the sand, hoping it will go away. Because it can be serious.
And that goes back to fear.
Which goes back to fear. So I hope it ain't happening, you know, and then if it really is something, what I will really do, you understand? I might not end up in hospital for this page general, and they go through all of that. Not necessarily consciously. All right? But it boils down to fear, and not really, you know, I mean, a lot of us feel that, you know, big thing, I'll get over it. And they don't realize these are symptoms of something that can be life-threatening. You know, and a lot of people now also will try to pray it away. I have no problem with that.
Lord help
it never worked. It never worked for me. I stay away from people in the prayers, you know. So
faith without works doesn't work. It doesn't happen. You know.
Well, yeah, resulting out of fear. They delay that decision. You know, they just don't want to make that decision, and believe if they keep delaying it, well, then, as you said, it will go away by itself. Something will happen, and it will go away. And that's something we have to look at. And how do we, let me follow up to that question, Nat. When you, in consultation with a client that you believe should make that certain decision, and they fear, they don't want to don't want to even think of a medical plan or think of a will. How do you handle that?
Well, you know, the sales is a skill. Insurance is not bought, it is sold. People see the expense, they don't necessarily see the benefit. And when they do, and Jenny, you would know, you sold, and you would know that there are people who were reluctant. And I mean, the gratitude after the fact, if something happened, and they thanked you profusely, because if it wasn't for you, girl, I would not have this. All right, and I mean, every salesman who's worth their salt would go through that. So you sell proper needs, and in some cases, you have to use all kind of tax to get them to buy, because you know this is in their interest. And you know, I have one of my clients who called me. So today he's over 70, and I mean, in this case is a pension plan. And he thanks me, Nap boy, thanks boy. I mean, I get that pension every month, boy, thanks, thanks. You know, I mean, I don't know if I mean, a lot of us now are selling, these sales are transactional. It's not about needs. It's not even in terms of what they really need, in terms of taking them up to the limit in terms of what they can pay, because what you pay is going to be a direct correlation to what you get as a benefit. People just see it as, hey, till something happens. And then they want, I mean, there are people who are applying for insurance now who know they can't get insurance, who have been declined by other companies, and they still come in and not trying to hide what they done, and the insurance not going to pay anyway. But that's now they desperately want it when they can't get it. But when they could have gotten it, they didn't want it. And insurance is bought basically with good health, not with money, but with good health.
Yeah.
That is something that is getting scarcer and scarcer every day we live. You know? So I am an optimist. I believe there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, this is going to turn around. I think we, as Black people, need to try to turn it around faster, because we're lagging behind.
Definitely. You know, it is really tragic. And I keep coming around the people, we talk about health. You need insurance for, and viewers, Jennifer and I are not doing this program to hustle you to sell a policy. This is not why we're doing it. If we think of the word insurance is a tool that is used to minimize and balance off risk. It is used to protect you from, if you're going you're going down the road and you think you'll be going out for a long time, you just put a pack of biscuits and a bottle of water in your bag. That's insurance. That pack of biscuits and the bottle of water you put in your bag is insurance. And the fact of the matter is that, as Nat said earlier, you need insurance for many things. You want to buy a house. You want to get a loan, things about life that allows you to improve. And here you are, the bank says you need this, and you go trotting off to the insurance company, and that is when you discover you ain't qualified for anything. Because
Right.
you have not taken care of yourself. So it's not even that you're sick and you're looking for health insurance, it's that you're looking to do better in life, educate the children, get a house, do whatever it is. But because of your carelessness, you don't meet the requirements, and therefore you come to a full stop and you discover you have some serious problem that is life-threatening and cards just falling down. So part of our taking care of ourselves, our 3 platforms, your well-being, your financial well-being, and taking care of your community, your tribe. You have to mitigate risk, and therefore you have to insure yourself against risk. And not what I'm hearing you saying is that our people see the cost of that insuring yourself against life risks as an unnecessary expense.
You know, Terry, when you think of insurance, everything, when you go to the grocery, those goods that came in by ship were insured. Almost everything at some point was insured. You can't drive your car, well, you shouldn't, without insurance. All right? If you have, I mean, boat, whatever, I mean, and that's a few people, but whatever at some point was insured. Yet, you balk at the, I mean, when we look at penetration, insurance penetration, it's very, 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 very minuscule because most people don't have insurance.
You just have to look at the fundraising barbecues.
Yeah, you know me.
Barbecue.
I basically, you know, I was reading this insurance agent, politician, had a GoFundMe story. I couldn't wrap my head around that. So you're supposed to know. You're supposed to have insurance. And I can't wrap my head around that. So if you choose not to protect yourself, why you want my little money?
Why must you buy your chicken?
I mean, I don't understand because, as they say, that is the poor man doctor. If you don't want to protect yourself, then nobody has come back to tell me that it's so bad on the other side.
The other thing now that we have to be aware of is the increased cost, medical cost. That has really been it has skyrocketed for many, many reasons. And look at that for those our audience who may be still skeptical about why buy insurance or why at this stage to take a medical plan. And I'm glad you mentioned too that even at our age, 50 plus, can go in now and they can buy, of course, a medical plan, and it goes up to what, 80, which is great.
The critical illness goes up to 80, life health insurance goes up to till you die.
And the medical plan to qualify, what age, what's the maximum age to actually purchase a medical plan?
I think it's 59. Well, health insurance is 69. Critical illness is 59.
So there's still a lot of opportunity as for those, of course, who watching their health and can qualify.
Just because when you look, sure, wait, just now. You said health insurance is up to 59 and critical illness.
No, critical illness insurance 59. Entry age
okay
is 59, and I think health insurance
but forget the age.
I think you could get health insurance up to 69.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
Health insurance is going to the doctor and whatever illness it is, they
That's
pay
the
a percentage.
reimbursement
Yes.
of some of the money from the doctor
Yeah.
bills or your drugs.
Right. So yeah, but it's not even reimbursement anymore. It's just that you pay your part and Guardian pays their part. You don't have to. You don't. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not you pay all and.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And critical illness.
Critical illness. You have about 21 critical illnesses. That's defined in the contract. Cancer, heart, stroke, renal failure. 21 of them. Once you are diagnosed, they pay on diagnosis, pay the full sum assured on diagnosis. So, and that goes up to something like about 3 million in terms of the maximum coverage you could get. So that would pretty much take care of anything, any one of those illnesses you get, that money dropping in your lap.
And it's
so
still
whether you have to go away or whatever. And in addition to that, we also have international health insurance, which is on top of the local health, the whole local health insurance. So there's a distinction between what we call health insurance and critical illness insurance, right? And then there's life insurance, and there's pension, right? And then there's also a thing called personal accident, which also has if you are hospitalized, it pays you a benefit, a daily benefit, and that kind of thing. So there are different products that can make sure anything that happened to you, you're good to go.
This is really
because you see, you two insurance professionals, you went through a very important list of things that I think a lot of people, when they think about, and again, I'm going to stress this, when we talk about insurance, we're not talking about, you're going to get a policy. That non-professional insurance person, we are talking about protecting yourself against financial ruin or hardship that may come to your life. And not you called out a list of possible products that can be used to cover different risks. So I want to ask you to go over that a little slower again, because people might think insurance is life. So if I'm dead, let them catch the tail. But that is just one aspect.
Yeah, okay. So there's life insurance, which, I mean, we take out life insurance because we love somebody. That's one aspect of it. However, there's also the mortgage protection. If you're in have a business and you need to get a loan from the bank is going to want those kinds of things. Insurance policy as collateral, ensure that they don't have to sell your house and all of those kinds of things. So that's life insurance. Then you have critical illness insurance, which has, as I said, about 21 illnesses that it covers. I could give you the highlights, but all the detail, a lot of the policy in front of you. But cancer, heart attack, stroke, renal failure, 4 of the major ones that out of the 21. If you are diagnosed, it pays on diagnosis.
Without questions being asked.
Well, of course, you have to prove it.
Yeah, yes. You don't have to go back for more tests because you would have been so.
No. Once you go to the doctor and you say you have cancer, you got to. All right, whatever the sum assured is, whether it's $500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million, we will pay the full sum assured on diagnosis. So that is why.
So if you're ill, you can't manage, but you're getting something.
Well,
you would not sell
$100,000. If you are earning $50,000 a month and you have $100,000 of coverage, then I don't know. I'm
not talking about a person earning that level. There might be someone who is at the low end, but still want some kind of protection.
Right. So if somebody is at the lower end, what we sell is needs, and it has to be affordable.
Yes.
So if you are making $4,000 or $5,000 a month and all you could pay is $200-300, fine. That's what you can afford.
Good.
And we will not sell you more than you can afford, because whatever we sell you, you need to be able to pay for the next how much years. All right? It's not a short-term thing, it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Then you saying you also have personal accident, which is a policy that if you get in any kind of accident, if you end up in hospital, it pays you a daily rate benefit while you are in a hospital bed. It would pay you for if you burn yourself with an iron kind of thing and you have to
that's a separate product to life and critical illness, or was that not something included?
Separate product.
Well, look, I learned something now.
Separate product. All right.
I have to talk to my agent.
Agent maybe don't even know nothing about it. So,
okay.
Every agent don't know a lot of agents don't avail themselves of all the.
All right, so personal accident can stand on its own.
It stands on its own. It only stands on its own. That's up. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And then obviously that's if you live too long, which is a pension plan. So you have a registered pension plan, which is controlled by Inland Revenue, and you have an unregistered pension plan. So the registered is if you pay for it with after-tax dollars, with before-tax dollars, and the unregistered, you pay for it with after-tax dollars. All right, so the benefit with the registered becomes income as a benefit, so you pay tax on it depending on if it crosses the threshold of the $8,000 a month that you're allowed. Yeah, so those are basically the, and where they have children policies and that kind of thing. So,
okay.
Because you also, a lot of people we find all they have at 60 or 65 is the savings they have from the insurance policy. They ain't save nothing in the bank, they ain't save nothing, so they have the house and the money they save so the cash money is what they would have in the insurance policy. So we see it as also forced savings. It's not the best method of saving, but it is one of them. Yeah.
I think we have a few minutes left. This has been it served its purpose, because we really need to think about how do we protect our financial assets, and really it comes down to dollars and cents after everything is. Going forward, you're living into your 70s, your 80s, your 90s. You have dependents around you, and I think the great news that I heard today is that you need to go in and talk to your insurance agent and find out what you can get. And more critically, if you're qualifying, and start to fix your personal situation by your health, whether it is overweight, blood pressure, blood sugar, so that you can access that protection.
Terry, one of these considerations, like I told you, my mother had 9 children and that was her insurance. Most women today do have more than 2 children. If some of them have 1, some of them have none. So they have nobody going and help them in their old age, basically. So taking personal responsibility for yourself and preparing as young as you are for the future. And even if you wait till 50, because I had a client who started a pension at 52 and he paid for 10 years and he was paying substantial, obviously you have to pay a substantial amount of money to get a decent pension at that time. But if you start at before 30, and I know your audience is over 50, but nevertheless,
They have grandchildren and children.
they have grandchildren
So you
and
see, you're
children.
insuring yourself against that liability.
Exactly. But if we are going to be living into our 80s and 90s, and a lot of us are, you know, I mean, a lot of us are going out there and people are saying, nah, you're not that age. You are not that age. You're 20 years younger because that's how you look. All right. And if there's nothing medically wrong with you, chances are you are going to live into your 90s. And if you are living into your 90s and inflation pretty much halves your income every 5 years, half your buying power every 5 years, then you need to start to put aside things to ensure. As Jenny, you remember what they used to have at the bottom of the quotation for registered pension plan to make your pension, your retirement a holiday and not a hardship. You remember that?
Yeah. So
they don't use that anymore, but it's still real. It is still real because I mean, if you look at North America, a lot of people work all their life and use their retirement for traveling. To travel, you have to have money. All right? We don't know when they're going to devalue, but it's bound to come sometime. Whether it's 10 years, whether it's 8 years, it go before you're 90, it will happen. And if you are not putting aside something now for that rainy day, which is bound to come, then you are not going to have a retirement that is not a hardship.
Yeah. Nat Wiltshire, I really appreciate this discussion. You know, Jennifer, even as an old pro, I'm sure that he brushed up some stuff for you.
No, we have been very, very fortunate to have that. Yes, he did mention the standalone plan. I found that was interesting. That I was not aware of that one. So quite interesting. And I just want to add to all this and from what that has said, I think, and I always advocate that, yes, we are looking at where we're heading and what will happen to us down the road. But to do that, for those of us, our loved one, those that we responsible for, or that we looking towards to help us in our old age, many of us, as you said, Nat, have 1, 2, or none.
And they are able. They are able.
Have 1 or 2. If they have none, those who are close to you, I think we need also to have them in a little meeting, a little discussion. Let's discuss what is happening now. Let's look at the future. Let's see what can be done, and really consider, the insurances, all the Nat has listed, all the different types that could cover different situations. Some, maybe all of us may qualify, some of us may not, but we may be able to sit down and have a plan. How are we going to work it? So no one would be totally dependent on the other when we get old. So I would like to know, I'm at 90 and I am depending on my 2 children, and you don't even know what will be their situation then. So these are discussions we have to have at our stage. We should have that discussion with our loved ones to know what will be the next thing we really like to happen. And, in emergency, what funds are there that can be used.
Yeah.
So that's.
And I think too, Jennifer, as we talk about it, and I that money that comes into you, you may have nothing as your legacy, and you may have children who are getting by, but collectively you could put up a premium and make sure that at least when something happens to you, they protect themselves by protecting you, or that a legacy is left, something is left. It's not necessarily your own burden, but it's a family burden, and not professional insurance agents should be willing to have that discussion with people, because people may think that if you call an agent, you have to buy something, and it's an advisory service, isn't it?
It's a trick question.
No. Because some people will say, I don't even want to talk to the insurance agent. I don't want to talk to them because they feel that
Well,
they'll.
I would not. I mean, we are not. I mean, agents don't work for a salary; they work for commissions. So to say it's an advisory, I would not go there. All right.
You're selling something, but you
We are selling something. However, if you sit with me, as an agent, and I go to sell, but you should leave. You should, after the interview, you would have learned something, whether you bought or not.
Good.
All right.
That's
However, I go in there.
You're going to give advice.
If a sale, no, a sale is absolutely not possible. I don't go in. If you can't afford me, you can't afford me. I'm sorry. There are people who go into a Benz shop, and there are people going to a Tina shop, right?
How's I'm going to a Benz shop to see? But the issue with affordability, I think we really need to stress, because the affordability is your own self. What value are you putting on yourself and on those around you? And
people afford. I mean, when you look at, I mean, they were talking about carnival costumes and carnival costumes and even carnival fetes, and you're looking at people have no issue. You can't get a ticket to go to CIC, and I'm talking about VIP. You can't, I mean, Tribe sell out already, all right? So, and their costumes are $6,000. People don't have no issue finding the money. None.
I don't have a $6,000 costume.
Not you.
I tell you, there's no $6,000 costume in Tribe.
All right.
That was 10
K2K have $8,000 and $9,000 policy.
You know,
right? So I am saying that people will pay for what they want to pay for. People, I mean, those flights coming into Trinidad and going out of Trinidad are full every day, all of them. So people pay for what they want to pay for and what they see as important. So if our job is to convince them, that's what a salesman's job is, to convince them that this is where they need to protect before you fly away. Because even when you jump on a plane, you don't really know when you're coming back.
Yeah.
All right? And with the crime in Trinidad now, you could be collateral damage, your family have an issue. So let's make sure we protect them, we protect ourselves, and we protect our legacy.
Great. Yes. Thank you very, very much, Nat.
It was absolutely my pleasure.
Excellent. Excellent. Jennifer, you got a little brush up on the insurance.
I don't have much at all to add, because Nat really went through all the different aspects and show how important it is for us to look at insuring, whether it's life insurance, whether it's health insurance, whether it's just protection, whether it's security. It is critical. And
personal accident.
So we need to look at this seriously. You know, whether you're or not, this is something serious, as I advocate for us and our loved ones to get together, sit and have that discussion.
Definitely. So personal responsibility, know your health situation, and talk to an insurance agent and get yourself protected. So until next week, here's another reminder of that autobiography. Bye.
Hello, 50 Plus Tribe. I am Dr. Lynette Tyson Noel, your guide for these 3 sessions of guided autobiography. Get on board to write your stories, your ideas, your experiences, about any one topic per session. Let's scribe together. I'm looking forward to having you on board with me and with the others who are going to be writing online with us. Come and experience a wonderful writing session. 3 sessions, yes, but each one giving you ideas to think about, to write about, and really to take those ideas that you have had in your head for a long time and put them on paper. It might be a new experience for you, but I can assure you it's not going to be the last. And certainly you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So, come on board. See you there on October the 8th, the 15th, and the 21st from 6 p.m. What are you waiting for?
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.